Okay, we should be live now. Are you okay, Onka? You look. Is it cold there? You look like you're wrapped up in all manner of. Is it cold? Wow.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, it's about 1 degree outside where we are at the moment.
Seriously, I thought you Brisbane.
Yeah, but we live between Ipswich and Esk, which is out in the rural areas, and it gets in winter. It gets quite cold at the night, but during the day it's usually about 23 degrees, so it's not too bad for winter, is it?
Oh no, that's fair enough, because what I've heard friends say is 23 during the day. I'd never thought it would drop to.
Yeah. Well, it's like in the deserts in Australia. Like in the desert, the same thing. It'll get to in the mid-40s. Yeah.
Because here, when we have, on the occasion we have a hot day, it's like a hot night. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I remember. I lived in London for a couple of years, and yeah, I was there when it was like really hot in both England and or United Kingdom and Europe, and a lot of elderly folk were kind of dying and fall off the perch because they weren't used to the heat. Anyway.
Yeah, we just had a period of 10 days where it was like 30 plus or like 90 plus Fahrenheit. And because we don't have it often, there's no air conditioning. So, and it doesn't, cool down at night. So it is, if you can't tolerate heat, it is really hard.
Yeah.
Where are you
shut down?
On the Pacific Northwest?
Well, it depends. Here in the valley, we've had several days around 33, 35 during the day, and then all the way down to like 12, 14 at night. Quite a
jump, difference.
What that does is we open the windows at night and then close the house up during the day, and it stays quite cool in there. In fact, I just had a blanket on at the house, where here it's quite warm. Over on the coast where Aishin is completely different. The ocean moderates everything.
Does make a difference. So you were out on the Pacific coast, Aishin?
Yes, right on the Pacific, as a matter of fact. We have really wonderful weather. We have a very mild winter, and right now it's about 65 outside.
That's nice.
Fahrenheit. And it very seldom gets above that in the summertime. I mean, if it gets up to 70, we nearly die.
Yeah. We feel that here sometimes, but we have the same, that being being close to the ocean. I'm only like 10 miles from ocean, and yet it makes a difference. It moderates the climate. There you go. Wow, it's like a full house tonight. Good to see you, Washin.
Good to see you too.
Извините, Washin, вы говорите по-русски?
Немножко, чуть-чуть.
Вы говорите по-английски хорошо.
Thank you, спасибо.
I got a tiny bit of that. I had a Russian girlfriend once, and I learned a little bit of but not very much. Mostly, I found this website which was for men looking for Russian brides, and it had all these ways to tell your girlfriend you loved her in Russian, but some of them were hilarious. They were like, "Hey, Doshi," it was like, "I love you, you know, as far as the Ural Mountains and back and stuff," and they were just really flowery. We found them just very, very funny. Anyway, enough of such frivolities. I think you all know how to do this. Doshin, have you sat Tonglen before? Okay, then I will quickly run through it. Well, Tonglen comes from, well, it's a Tibetan practice, although it comes from some Indian teachings on mind training, which are called Lojong in Tibetan. And the idea is to make whatever you come across your path. And Tonglen is basically a twist on a kind of meditation which is done in a lot of places where usually we kind of breathe in healing for ourselves and breathe out all the kind of stuff we want to get rid of. But Buddhism twists it on its head and kind of takes on a bodhisattva view where we take on the suffering of others and we breathe out all the sort of joy, love, and metta to them. And the view of doing that is it brings us face to face with other people's suffering, but also face to face with our own suffering and other things we don't want to face. It increases love and compassion we have for other people. It decreases our sense of separateness, and it kind of chips away at the ego as well and opens the heart. So the way we do this is we do it using the breath as a kind of vehicle to ride on. And when we breathe in, we imagine taking in the suffering of others. And when we breathe out, we imagine sending love and compassion and joy to those people. And traditionally, that's been visualized as kind of suffering is seen as black smoke or that you breathe in, and joy and compassion is seen as light you breathe out. But the most important part is not how you visualize it, it's connecting to the feeling. So really connecting with the suffering of others and really connecting, like we do in the metaverses, you connect with sending out that loving kindness. And there's two methods I've been taught. One is when you breathe in, you see the things going in through your breath down to the heart. And then the same when you breathe out, going the same way, or you can see it going directly through your chest, sort of breathing into your chest and then it going into the heart, being transformed and then going out again. And we do 4 stages of the practice. For the first 10 minutes, we just sit zazen as normal, just to kind of center ourselves and get into the space. Then for 5 minutes, we start with ourselves, like with the metaverses. We're a sentient being too. And so we start off just by taking in our own strains, suffering, pains, whatever, and sort of sending compassion to ourselves. Then for the next 10 minutes, we focus on a particular person or group of people. And for this time, we've generally been using people struggling with coronavirus, whether they've got it, their family's got it, they're stressed for it, losing their job, worried about it, in fear. But there's also, I mean, now there's the wildfires around California. I know I've got Tibetan Buddhist friends who practice there, and that's very much what they're practicing with at the minute. It's just absolutely spreading anywhere. And for a while, we focused on the sort of Black Lives Matters and the sort of stuff that arose out of the killing of George Floyd. But those are just ideas. Essentially, if you've got something, and for you, Doshin, I mean, there's also, when I worked with the Tibetan Sangha earlier in the week, somebody was focusing on the animals who are affected by the Californian wildfires, because of course there's animals fleeing from all that as well, wild animals and domesticated animals who are caught up in the So you don't just have to do people, you can pick any flavor of sentient being you like. But for that, generally we decide before the practice what we're going to work with. Then as soon as we hit it, we're like, okay, that's what I'm gonna work with today. So it's up to you to pick what you choose to do. And then for the last 5 minutes, just like the metaverses, we widen out and include all sentient beings. And then we end, and that'll be that. So yeah, is that all okay? Excellent. So we start off with 10 minutes of Zazen. The next 5 minutes, we do taking and sending for ourselves. For the next 10 minutes, we focus on our specific sentient being or group of sentient beings. We breathe in their suffering and send them metta, love, and joy. For the final 5 minutes, we widen out our circle to include all sentient beings. Thank you all for coming. As normal, we'll end with the verse of atonement and the 4 vows. And for those who've been following my struggles, you'll be glad to know it's written down today, so there'll be no issues. All harmful acts, words, and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and mind, now I atone for them all. Sentient beings numberless, to transform delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable. Thank you so much all for coming, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.